Hello and welcome, my lovely lads. Just a second. Alright, I'm just taking some new meds, so needed some time to get into the spirit of things. I won't be going live for a very long period of time. Just to know, I will try to bring it on. I'll try to, get into the spirit of things. These PFL predictions will get underway soon, so needless to say that this PFL season is going to bring a lot of entertainment here. And okay, let's bring it on. Now, there were winners at the previous PFL event. And nowadays, this PFL is bringing the great card. We might see some high-level matchups. I'm wondering whether the odds are released. I will try tomorrow to cover the odds for the channel. Yeah, PFL odds are released. Makes sense. The first fight of the night is going to be the clash between Alejandro Flores and Ryoji Kudo. Alejandro Flores 21-3-0. El Galito, very talented Mexican boxer out of Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, 5'9", 73 inches of reach. He was better than Sava Bolaji. He was better than Carl Dayton III. But against Ryoji Kudo, we will see. It's going to be a hard fight. This guy likes to go the distance, and he only lost to Rafael Alves, Andres Quintana, and Alejandro Solano Rodriguez. Other than that, he outworked everybody, and he was super good at Combate. For me, Combate is a great promotion, but at Contender Series, he was choked out by Rafael Alves. Ryoji Kudo 10-3-1 is Ryoji Kudo's score. 10-3-1, Japanese mixed martial artist, 5'10", out of Tribe Tokyo MMA. This guy lost to Keisuke Sasu and to Brendan Lugnan via technical decision. In Shoto, he was awesome. In Road to 1, he was awesome at 1. He also competed high-level competition, but I just think Alejandro Flores is in a better shape right now, so my pick gonna be Flores to win. First pick, Flores to win for -167. That's going to be my first pick, and we are gonna transition to the next pick right now. The next pick is going to be the battle between Brendan Logan and Boston Salmon. It's another preliminary fight. Boston Salmon is not on the greatest streak of his career. Extreme Couture fighter out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 5'9", 72.5 inches of reach. He lost to Shimon Moraes. Prior to that, he defeated Do-Hyun Lee, Sean West, but in UFC, he was stopped by Randy Costa and Khalid Taha. These were some of the high-level knockouts seen, and he defeated Sean West because Sean West struck him with an illegal knee at LFA. He was down on the scorecards, just to know, in that fight, and I really don't think he's in the greatest shape of his life. Brandon Lugnan, 22-4 is his score. Lugnan is 5'9", 72 inches of reach. Manchester Predators. Fighters only one lost to Mavit Kaibulaev recently. He was better. Contender Series defeated Bilal Gao, but he didn't get UFC contract, and he was better than Matt Vaji. David Valiente was also better than Shimon Moraes. Tyler Diamond unfortunately lost to Mavit Kaibulaev. Kicked off with a victory over Ryoji Kudo. I do think that Brandon Lugnan is a heavy favorite in this one. Yeah, -305. I think that's 100% on point. So Lugnan to win for -305. I think this is pretty much on point. If you ask me, this has to be pretty much on point. I agree with this prediction. So yeah, I do agree with this prediction. It's, for me at least, it's one. Can't say the most confident pick, but at least one of the most confident picks at least on my card. Now, the next fight is the match between Lance Palmer and Shane Moraes. Now this is suicidal fight for me. Literally suicidal for betting. Both fighters are very, very good. Lance Palmer, 5'6", 69 inches of reach. Alpha male fighter coached by Uriah Faber. Lost to Bubba Jenkins, lost to Malit Kaibulaev, kicked off with a loss to Chris Wade. But all of those were tough losses, close fights, He outworked Alex Gilpin, Alexander Del Almeida. I mean, these were all close fights. Let's be honest. These were all close fights. And now people are going to say he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Yes, he is. But when you're taking part in back-to-back close fights, you can't ride that guy out. You simply can't ride that guy out. Shimon Moraes, 14-5-0, 5'8", 72 inches of reach out of Team Nogueira. He defeated Jesse Stern, Lazar Stojadinovic, and Boston Salmon. But probably the problem is that he already lost to Brendan Logan, lost to Andre Fili, lost to Sadiq Yusuf, though he has a UFC experience with victories over Matt Sales and Julio Arce, fought the best in the division, lost to Zabit Magomed Sharipov. The truth is that Shimon Moraes is better on the ground than Lance Palmer, but Lance Palmer can hold, his wrestling is awesome. I mean, cage wrestling, control. He wrestles and strikes, and this could be a tricky fight for Shimon Moraes. I would gladly say fight goes the distance for Lance Palmer versus Shimon Moraes. Lance Palmer versus Shimon Moraes goes the distance. Now, you will say that something is not okay with me, but let's say Shimon Moraes to win for plus 130. I would risk with the underdog pick here. No, I would really risk with the underdog pick here. So that's something. I know majority of you are going to heavily disagree, but I'm not just looking at the winning, losing streak and such things. There are other things I'm taking into consideration right now. So I'm taking some other things into consideration. But again, goes the distance would be the best pick or over 2.5. Bubba Jenkins gonna meet Sabe Balaji. I've never been... No, Bubba Jenkins, one of the most unpredictable fighters. Comes out of wrestling, Black House MMA, lost to Chris Wade, outworked Kyle Bochniak. He was better than Lance Palmer, Bobby Moffett, Lucas Martins. People are accusing Bubba Jenkins constantly of boring fights, but in his Bellator career, he holds victories over Joe Wilk, Jordan Parsons, Goiti Yamauchi, lost to Georgi Karakani on 2 occasions. People were accusing him of that, but needless to say, Bubba Jenkins has a lot of experience, and it would be totally insane to start accusing him of such things, And Sava Balaji, 14-3-1, 5'6", out of Frankfurt, Germany, MMA spirit fighter, another wrestler. Yeah, another wrestler. Is Chris Wade versus Kyle Bochniak a confident pick? Haven't reached that fight yet. Chris Wade versus Kyle Bochniak. I'll have to analyze that fight. I think it's a hard fight though. Hard fight to predict. So Bubba Jenkins versus Sava Balaji is a fight of similar fighters, and people are giving heavy advantage to Bubba Jenkins. To some point, hello Grayson. Tibor Romanov to win, but not confident. I have to say that Bubba Jenkins is, for me at least, he's like Jekyll and Hyde, so unpredictable, but I think I'm gonna slightly lean Bubba Jenkins, so Bubba Jenkins to win for minus 360, or the fight starts around 3. That's like, but Bubba Jenkins is like Jekyll and Hyde. You never know whether he has a good or a bad day in the office, and I'm a fan of his, if you know what I mean. I'm a big fan of Bubba Jenkins, but some things are Ferreira and Capelozza in a parlay. That's okay. These are my picks too. I am also going to pick Ferreira and Capelozza, so I agree with that. Now the next one is Dennis Goltsov versus Sam K. Sorry, next one is Ali Isaev versus Jamel Jones. Ali Isaev, 9-0, undefeated Russian fighter. 6 foot 3, 78 inches of reach, freestyle wrestler out of Moscow, Russia. He destroyed Jared Roshful, Dennis Goltsov, Kelvin Tyler, Carlson Manutafa, Waldrin Streffy, many other high-level opponents. 38 years of age, but he's so brutal. Jamel Jones, 12, 8-0, heavy weight, 6 foot tall, 75 inches of reach. Isaev, as much as I've seen, is better in every single aspect of the game, plus 3 inches of reach advantage. 62 fighter, lost to Bruno Capoza and Henan Ferreira. He was able to defeat Klitson Abreu via ground and pound, but I just think Ali Isaev is on a whole different level. So Isaev to win, like, can't say super confident, but I'm confident. Isaev to win for minus 500. I'm pretty much confident in Isaev. Next fight. Next fight is between Denis Goltsov and Sam K. Now, Denis Goltsov is also an example of a Jekyll and Hyde, of Mr. Jekyll and of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because Russian Bogatyr was defeating some of the most dangerous names, and he was losing to some of guys who were very much under him, who were very much low level compared to him. For example, that loss to Ante Delia, I was like, what the heck, man? That's not something I expected. But for example, he destroyed Cody Goodell, he destroyed Modaris, he destroyed Brandon Sales. He was better than Satoshi Ishii and Kelvin Tiller. Lost to Ali Isaev. I mean, there's a lot of unpredictability on his back. And also it depends on how he starts. Sam K, fighter out of Tonga, 850, 6 foot 3, 75 inches of reach, spike 22, fighter out of Sydney, Australia. He was very dominant at Hex Fight Series, but I'm worried because of the fact that every single time he was out of that promotion, he was having a hard time. And the promotion is inking fighters from every single end of the world, so Goltsov should win this one. I'm like, from what I've seen, Goltsov should be better. Goltsov minus 605 to win. I do think Goltsov should be having better chances. Umar and Shavkat. I think Umar is going to win. Shavkat, I would pick Shavkat because he is undefeated. So yes, Umar and Shavkat, I agree. I will make a UFC breakdown tomorrow, but I do agree about picking Umar and Shavkat. Just odds on Umar and Shavkat are kind of, low level, but I do agree on putting them in a parlay. Definitely agree. I think I'm also going to bet on Umar and Shavkat, but tomorrow I can bet. But like 80% that I'm gonna bet on them. Now, the next fight is going to be between Ante Delia. This is the prelim closer. Ante Delia and Stuart Austin. Ante walk in trouble Delia. 6'5", 79 inches of reach out of Dubrovnik, Croatia. Lost to Bruno Capelloza on 2 occasions, but he defeated Denis Goltsov. He defeated Chandler Cole, and he destroyed Matheus Sheffield. After that victory over Ollie Thompson and dominant performance over Carlson Manutafa, Ante Delia keeps winning. It seems his stamina is his only problem. Aside of the stamina issues, he is awesome, just awesome. It's going to be a 3-round fight. Stuart, him and Austin, 15-8-0, 6'3", 77 inches of reach, Titan fighter gym. Lost to Henan Ferreira and Bruno Capelloza, outworked Satoshi Ishii, destroyed Yuri Andre. This guy rarely goes the distance. Daucho Lungembula knocked him out cold. Johnny Walker knocked him out cold. But he can hit you with the big right, so you need to be cautious when fighting with this guy. People are gonna criticize me heavily, but I have no balls to put it on Delia. Like Delia versus Austin, no distance. Delia versus Austin, no distance. Well, I don't know if you should add one more. I agree about those 4 picks. I agree about them. I don't know how much is the odd. Delia versus Austin, no distance. If I must pick a side, I'd risk with Austin. Plus 375, I think. But no distance, I would rather play. Yeah, I would risk with Austin because Delia can be very unpredictable. So you've seen what happened in the first outing against Bruno Capelloza. Sometimes he doesn't have a good day in the office. So pretty much a lot of unpredictability on his end. So this is the preliminary card. Just a second. Just a second. 1 second. No problems, man. Thank you too. Right. Oh, thank you, thank you. Tomorrow I will probably bet on Umar and Shavkat. Like 80% I'm gonna bet on them. But tomorrow, of course, I will let you know about my UFC bets. I bet on UFC, so I will let you know. That's not a problem. Now let's transition to the next one. Transition to the next chapter. Main card. Yeah, main card. Renan Ferreira versus Klitson Abreu. Now people gonna ask me Renan Ferreira versus Klitson Abreu, which side are you gonna pick and why? I do think Problema is a favorite for a reason. Definitely a favorite for a reason. Renan Ferreira showcased some great skills. 6'8", 85 inches of reach. Man, 85 inches. He's got greater reach than John Bones Jones, Team Nogueira fighter. He was better than Jamel Jones. He was better than Stuart Austin, Carlson Motafa. That fight against Fabricio Verdum, that's a fight to remember. People said there was a tap, then people said there was no tap. Yeah, at the end of the day, did he tap or didn't he tap? Very controversial fight. They later ruled it no contest. So this guy also choked out Jared Vandera, was better than Fabricio Almeida, lost to Brett Martin and Vinicius Moreira, which is okay. But at PFL, I haven't seen a single loss of his. Klitson Abreu, Klitson White Bear Abreu, 16, 5, 0, 6'2", 75 inches of reach, 10 inches of reach disadvantage. ATT fighter out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, defeated Adam Karash, but lost to Jamel Jones. No contest against Jamahul Hill, lost to Shamil Gamzatov, lost to Magomed Ankalaev, defeated Sam Alvey. I really think Ferreira should be a lock here. Can't say like most. I can say most confident pick for Pereira though. For Pereira, I can say the most confident pick. So I'm gonna say Ferreira to win. I have no dilemma about Ferreira. Like I'm giving him 80% to win this fight. If you look back at that fight against Fabricio Verdum, I was watching that fight for like 5 or 6 times. It looks like he really tapped. Then he finished Verdum via ground and pound, but it looks like he tapped, you know. That's how it looked like in the slow-mo. So did it confuse the judge? Did it confuse the referee or not? Well, that's $1 million question. You know, that's $1 million question. If you ask me, I watched it like 5, 6 times, and still to that day, I have no idea whether it was correct or incorrect decision. They gave it no contest, which sounds... well, it sounds okay to me. I think it is okay to some point. But when people ask me, Vlad, what do you think about that fight? Vlad doesn't know what to say, honestly. Vlad will try to rewatch that detail right now. Yeah, this step is so controversial, man. Still controversial tap. That's okay. I mean, judges exist for a reason. Judges exist for a reason in this sport. They know the rules. Fans don't have to know every single rule. I mean, I know the majority of rules, but I don't know all of them, so... it is what it is, I guess, so... let's transition to the next fight. Chris Wade versus Kyle Bochniak. Now, this is one -4-0, but I'm not confident on Chris Wade. Not confident at all. Like, Kyle crashed Bochniak 11-6-0, 5'7", 70 inches of reach, Luzon mixed martial arts fighter out of Boston. You know that the guy has UFC experience, but he was on a cold streak. Scored wins over Enrique Barzola and Brandon Davis, lost to Rossa, Kennedy, Magomed Sharipov, Davudu, Woodson. After that, he destroyed Kai Uruguay, Marcus Brimic, Carlton Minus, lost to Bubba Jenkins. Carlton Minus, Marcus Brimic, Kai Uruguay, these are all high-level opponents. He outworked them all. Chris the Long Island Killer, weight 21-7-0, 34 years of age, 5'10", 70 inches of reach. When we compare fighters' reach, you will notice that it is almost identical. Out of Long Island MMA, this guy defeated Lance Palmer, lost to Mavlit Khaibulaev, but he was better than Bubba Jenkins, Hermano Spanov, Anthony Dizzy, lost to Ikrach Khabov. PFL vet. You see, this guy competes at PFL for a very, very long period of time, since 2018. At UFC, he was having a great career. Kane Carrizosa, Li Pengsheng, Christos Diagos, Mehdi Baghdad, victories, losses to Rustam Khabilov and Islam Makhachev. I would gladly say this fight goes the distance, That's the fight I would gladly pick, like Chris Wade versus Kyle Bochniak. Wade versus Bochniak fight goes the distance or over 2.5. Side pick, I'd risk with Wade. I'd risk with Wade. Wade is, I think, plus 255 or something like that. Wade is plus 255 or something like that. But I really think this fight could go all the way. I really think this fight could go all the way. So, if you ask me, that's really something. That's really something we should consider. That's really something we should consider. So, needless to say, that this looks like, at least this looks like a high potential fight coming up. That's how I see it. But fight goes the distance or over 2.5 would be a very safer pick for me, so I'm gonna stay away from picking a side here. Anthony Pettis versus Stevie Ray. Again, Anthony Pettis used to be a UFC champ, but since he joined PFL, he has changed. I just find your chat plus present type of kicks. Enjoy the lesson from PSM Fighters kicking example. Thanks. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hats off, man. Hats off, man. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Also, I want to tell Showtime Pettis, well, he's not in the greatest shape of his life. 5'10", 73 inches of reach. This guy choked out Miles Price, but lost to Haush Manfield, lost to Clay Collard, defeated Alex Morono, Donald the Cowboy Cerrone. At PFL, it's hard to finish Stevie Ray. Like, if you think he's gonna finish Stevie Ray is one of the hardest guys to finish. 5'10", 70 inches of reach. He's strong, man. I mean, yeah. Ray is going to have 3 inches of reach disadvantage, but finishing him in BJJ, Higher level martial arts fighter out of Glasgow, Scotland. He competed at grappling events and defeated Craig Ewers via modified twister at Polaris. He defeated Paddy Pimblett via inside heel hook. Defeated Michael Johnson, lost to Alex Martinez. Lost to Leonardo Santos, that was a surprise, but destroyed Jesse Nayari. Joe Luzon, Ross Pearson. Lost to Kejan Johnson and Paul Felder, but I think he fights better now compared to the period when he used to be in the UFC. So I think Stevie Ray has decent chances to win this fight. Now people gonna criticize me saying, what are you talking about? Pettis is a former UFC champ, etc. Well, maybe you are right, guys. I'm not gonna confront much. Maybe you are right. Pettis used to be a former champ, but something is happening with Pettis in the last few years. Since he's not a member of UFC, a lot of things have changed, and it's not the same Anthony Showtime Pettis like a few years ago, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. And Stevie Ray, whenever I watch his videos, I just see improvement. He constantly gets better. Every single time I watch Stevie Ray, I see a new move. I see better grappling. I see better cage control, better striking. Pettis is a better striker than him, that's true. But on the ground, there's no way. There's no way that Pettis is going to finish him. Stevie Ray is brutally good on the ground. So, looks like a 50-50 fight, but I'm still going to go with Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray to win for plus 155. I'm pretty much hyping Stevie Ray a bit. I know a majority of you are gonna disagree, which is okay. Everybody has right to express his own thoughts. That's okay. Oh. But I do give Stevie Ray decent chances in this fight. Now let's transition. Bruno Capelloza versus Mateus Sheffield. Mateus Bufa Sheffield, 15-8-0, 6'2", 75 inches of reach out of Curitiba, Paraná, Brazil. Got knocked out by Ante Delia, lost to Azamat Murzakanov via knockout. Every single time he was fighting a high-level fighter, he was losing John Allen, for example. You all know who is John Allen. Tiago Varejao, Rondy Wallace, Klitson Abreu. These are all fighters who were making solid careers. And Mateus Sheffield might have a hard time against Bruno Capelloza because Bruno Capelloza not going to guess unless Sheffield knocks him out cold early on, which I doubt is going to happen. Going to be a tricky fight for him. Bruno Capelloza, 6'2", 79 inches of reach. Corinthians MMA fighter, going to have massive 4-inch reach advantage over this guy. 4-inch reach advantage. No, this is not a joke. This is 4-inch reach advantage. Capelloza defeated Stuart Austin, Ante Delia on 2 occasions, Moderis, Jamel Jones. His last loss happened to Yuri Prohashka via punch at Rising. It happened in 2018. Other than that, surprising loss to Theodoras Augstulis. I don't even know how he lost to Theodoras Augstulis because if you compare the two fighters, it's like sky and earth. Okay, those losses to Emiliano Sordi, that's okay. But Theodoras Augstulis loss, I still believe it was a lucky punch. Yuri Prohashka loss is a different story. Yuri Prohashka is a very, very much, how to say, unique fighter in the market. I'm going to go with Capelloza to win. Capelloza to win, minus 500. So, now you're going to ask me about round robin. Fine, but here's the problem. I only picked two underdogs in a confident, so round robin Ray plus 155, Moraes plus 130, and maybe a super risky Austin plus 375. Maybe a super risky Austin plus 375. Like super risky, like most confident picks. Capelloza is one of most confident picks. Let me see. Ferreira. And Goltsov, Isaev, maybe Goltsov. That's how I analyze this card, and maybe it's gonna be Goltsov. But I would go with Capelloza, Ferreira, and Isaev if you ask me for the most confident picks. What are the top 3 MMA promotions in the world in terms of fighter talent level? Fighter talent level. One FC. If you're asking me non-UFC, One FC. Fighter talent. You need a promotion with a lot of young guns. There is a Canadian promotion. How are they called? BAF, BCA. Hold on. I think it's better. It's Battlefield Fight League, BFL. That promotion is stacked with prospects, and kind of for third, I have more answers, but I will try to give you all the answers I know. Just 1 second. Okay, I hit time frames. There are other promotions. This one is good. This one has a lot of talents. RSFC is already buying good prospects, like buying, disgruntled fighters from high-level promotions. M1 used to have high-level talents. M1 and ACB, they used to have high-level talents. There is a German promotion, but it's like no, not that. I remembered. Combate. Combate is very, very underrated promotion. Combate is, I think, Mexican promotion, and Jungle Fight from Brazil. I'm always amazed by the fighters from ACA. Me too. Same fighters, once they have UFC contract, they always do better training of simple reasons. Sparring partners, top class training in the same gym. Oh, that's true. That's true, Adam Fedora. That's absolutely true. When you get a UFC contract, you must work harder. You know that you're gonna face the killers. Like when the European guys join the UFC circuit, they start scoring better results, and they're training way more harder, which is like which I do understand to some point. I do. Top two PFL fighters. You mean now top two or top two all time? Just about what you tell, yeah. Now my favorite PFL fighters are this season. That's number one. George Silveira is my number one, and number two is how is that guy's name? Who defeated Nathan Schulte? That guy. Hold on. That guy who defeated Nathan Schulte. I forgot his name. Nathan Schulte. That guy who defeated him. 1 second. Alex Martinez. George Silveira and Alex Martinez. I like Ray Cooper. Ray Cooper is awesome. Olivier Yubin, Monsieur. He's okay fighter, but I like Ray Cooper too. Yes, I like Ray Cooper too. But Ray Cooper joined this year, I believe. Yeah. George Silveira and Alex Martinez are right now my favorite guys. Olivier Yubin, Monsieur, okay, he is good. But there are many... who else? I like Ali Saev. I know, yeah, you do. I like Ali Saev, for example. I like his fighting style. That's the guy. That's the fighting style I really like. I like Clay Collard. Who else? This girl, she defeated Clarissa Shields. Was it Abigail Montejo? Something. I know her name is Montejo. Marcin Held, yes. Marcin Held, yes. I like Stevens over there. Stevens is okay. Also former UFC name. OAM is the dark horse. Yes, he is. He absolutely is the dark horse. Absolutely, absolutely is. I definitely agree. Rojo. I like Rojo. No, Marcel Rojo. I like the guy. Who else? Yeah, Marcin Held is a great fighter. I like also this guy. I like to watch this guy. He might not be the greatest fighter in the world, but I like to watch him. Because of his high-level wrestling. Now you're gonna criticize me. Kenan Ferreira. You're gonna criticize me because that guy is a cheater, but he has good style to watch. The guy Yeri knocked out the champ over there at 205 or 265. I know who are you talking about. Yeri knocked out Bruno Capelloza. I know who are you talking about. Jirka knocked out Bruno Capelloza. That guy is outstanding right now. That guy is literally outstanding right now. He's piecing everybody up along the way. That's Bruno Capelloza. He defeated Ante Delija on 2 occasions. Ante Delija is pretty much one-sided fighter. He's an excellent fighter, but he's pretty much one-sided. I don't like that fighting style to watch. Because if you stuff his takedowns, the fight might not be interesting. But he is a great fighter. Just not super entertaining to watch. He lost in the finals, but I think he lost because of the lack of power. Because he didn't have enough stamina. That's how I see. But again, the guy is a top-notch, high-level fighter. and no, I have nothing but respect for the guy. I mean, way to go, man. Then who else? Uh, 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 There is the PFL fighter I hate the most is Gleison Tibau. You know why. I like Rory McDonald, man, but he was so unlucky. Maybe PFL is not a good choice for him. PFL is not a good choice for Anthony Showtime Pettis. I'm also a big fan of Anthony Showtime Pettis as well, as you know. I'm also very, very big fan of Anthony Showtime Pettis. Everybody who follows me knows that. But PFL is not a good choice for him. I know. He didn't get used to it. I just think he made a big mistake by joining the PFL. Yeah, kind of hard to say. But PFL fighter I hate the most is Gleison Tibau. Or I dislike the most is Gleison Tibau. Do you know Vitaly Slipenko? He's my favorite fighter in ACA. Yes, I know who he is. It's not like that I follow ACA on a regular basis, but I know who he is. Fiat and Curtis were once I liked. Oh, Chris Curtis used to be a great fighter earlier, but since his arrival into the UFC, he literally exploded. Like Andre Fialho, yeah, he got knocked out right now in the previous fight, but against Ferreira, that was a close fight, man. I mean, against Michel Pereira, he nearly won that fight. So yeah, Fialho used to be a great fighter. Well then, I like Stevie Ray now, but Stevie Ray is a new name, a relatively new name on the PFL circuit. But I love watching him. I don't like watching Denis Goltsov at all. I mean, his fighting style is okay, but the guy is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Really, he is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You never know how is he gonna fight, and it irritates me so much. Isaev is entertaining to watch. With Isaev, he is having a lot of tricky, feinting, unpredictable strikes, etc., which is okay. Can Chris Curtis stop a grappling attack over Rodolfo Vieira? His takedown, I would give him. That's Chris Curtis takedown defense. Jake Matthews is 11-5 in UFC. Yes, he's no joke. No, he's not joke at all. I think Chris Curtis has very decent takedown defense. So the only problem with Rodolfo Vieira is going to happen if the fight gets dragged to the ground. In the stand-up, Chris Curtis is going to fuck him up. Everybody knows that. Like in the stand-up, Chris Curtis has striking 9.5 out of 10. Rodolfo Vieira has striking maybe 5 out of 10. This would be insane to compare. But aside of that, it's a whole different story. Aside of that, Rodolfo Vieira doesn't have good striking, if you ask me. But his BJJ is excellent in the first round. In the second, so. In the third, he already guesses. I mean, you've seen him guessing on many occasions. So yeah, I do believe that Chris Curtis has good chances to win this fight. Of course, if he stops takedown attempts. So my pick for that fight is not going the distance because I'm scared what's gonna happen if Rodolfo Vieira drags the fight to the ground. If not, Chris Curtis for the victory. Like, not gonna say 100%, but 90% in the stand-up. Only a miracle can save. Rodolfo Vieira in the stand-up. But if we're gonna talk about something else, that's something different. You know, that's some different story. That's pretty much some different story. But yeah, in the stand-up, Chris Curtis is like, I know that MMA Guru was telling all kinds of things about Chris Curtis, and that Chris Curtis responded to that. He was very angry because of that. He said, "Man, at least give me some respect." But in the stand-up, that guy is amazing. And about his ground game, I've seen some of his ground game, but I haven't seen the best of his ground efforts. So it's questionable. It's pretty much questionable what would happen with him if the fight gets dragged to the ground. And some people gonna ask, is it gonna get dragged to the ground? Is it gonna be stopped? Etc. Etc. Well, Vieira's only chance is to drag the fight to the ground. I don't see any other method of victory for Vieira because Chris Curtis is no joke. Chris Curtis is no joke. I was thinking that he's a joke in the first fight, but then I've seen him making a big mistake. So no way, no way. I'm not making this mistake anymore. I'm not gonna underestimate that guy. Never again. Vieira isn't great at MMA. Well, that's true. Will I be rooting for Alex Pereira or Sean Strickland? Ooh, I love both of them, but I think I will be rooting for Pereira because Pereira is a kickboxer like me. And Strickland is pretty much unpredictable, so not an easy choice to make. Like Strickland is one of the most unpredictable guys ever. You know what James Lynch said? Like Strickland is very unpredictable. With Strickland, you never know what's gonna happen, how's your day gonna go, and I'm gonna root for Alex Pereira, but I think Strickland gonna piss him up. Honestly, I think Strickland gonna piss him up, but I think I'm going to root for Strickland. Oh, sorry, I think I'm gonna root for Pereira. I think Strickland has a massive grappling advantage. True, but don't forget that Pereira is training with Glover. Yeah, Pereira's grappling might not be the greatest in the world, but don't forget he's training with Glover Teixeira. So you've seen what Teixeira did against Thierry Denisa Prohashka. So that's the best 205-pound fight I have ever seen in my whole life. And that's something I really can't ignore. So training with Glover Teixeira can put your efforts to a whole new level, if you know what I mean. You can become way better by training with that guy, if you know what I mean. So I wouldn't take this that easily. I'd be cautious with those kind of statements, if you know what I mean. But yes, everybody who trains with Pereira, with Glover Teixeira, that could be a problem. That could be a problem, for literal. Like, Strickland is very tricky. I think Pereira has never faced a tricky fighter like Sean Strickland. So, if you ask me, Sean Strickland should be having a lot of advantage when it comes to tricky strikes. Trickiness has always been number one. And now, in the modern era of MMA, trickiness is more and more important. That's fair. I wonder if Strickland will pursue takedowns consistently. He will have to. He will have to. I mean, in the stand up, I think Strickland has decent chances. You know why? Because Strickland constantly does that. He is never on the central line, if you know what am I talking about. Pereira is mostly based around the central line, and Strickland's never on the central line. You've seen what he did against Uriah Hall. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. And Strickland lives by the rules. And there is one thing I honestly don't like about Strickland. That's the fact that, you know, he talks a lot of shit about women, and that's something I really don't like about Strickland. I'm like, I don't know why he behaves like that, but that's him. That's his choice. I just don't like talking shit about women. That in public, especially, it's so ugly to me. No, it's so ugly to me. But he has some kind of thinking that I don't support. But again, that's Sean Strickland. That's Sean Strickland. You can't blame him. That's him. I mean, Sean Strickland is Sean Strickland for a reason. I know. I know what are you gonna say. Maybe some of you are here are big fans of Sean Strickland. I'm big fan of Sean Strickland in the cage, but I'm a huge non-fan of Sean Strickland out of the cage. But inside the cage, I'm a big fan of Sean Strickland. And when it comes to Alex Pereira, I'm both fan inside the cage and out of the cage. Because the guy's like pursuing his own life. He is looking at his own life, pursuing his dreams. He doesn't give a fuck about unnecessary stuff in his life. I've never seen Pereira talking shit or writing shit on social media or in Strickland. Strickland's IG got banned. Strickland's Twitter got banned. I mean, you need to pull a break, man. I mean, hit a break, man. I understand that it's frustrating when people are constantly PMing you, etc. Pull the handbrake, man. I'm entertained by Strickland's craziness. I know, man, everybody is entertained, but I'm entertained by Strickland's craziness inside the ring, not outside of the ring. I mean, how many fighters got their Twitter and Instagram banned at the same time? Paddy Pimblett got his Twitter banned, but not Instagram. How many fighters got Instagram and Twitter both banned? Not a single one, only Sean Strickland. So, I mean, his topics are, I don't know, is he going political or what's he doing? You know, sometimes, no offense. I mean, no offense, but sometimes I think that Sean Strickland is high when he's not in the training session because some things that he's writing, I don't know, man. You know, or you know who writes those things? I have a friend, like not quite of a friend, but he has bipolar disorder. If you know what's that, you can type it on Wikipedia. maybe maybe Sean Strickland has two personalities inside of him. You can type that. I started researching a lot of psychology because starting today I'm drinking some med which will affect my hallucinations. It's actually a med against schizophrenia. It is going to affect my hallucinations. I hope they're not gonna appear, but I have two potential theories of Sean Strickland. One is like that he is high outside of training sessions, which is less likely because he lives by the rules. And second, does that guy having some kind of disorder? I mean, I don't want to troll the guy. I'm just talking normally. Yes, very visual. Yes. So that's my theory about Sean Strickland. I'm a massive fan of Sean Strickland inside the cage. But man, your Instagram got banned, your Twitter got banned. You did something bad, man. I mean, there are rules. We all must respect the rules. What, man? I used to run mental hospitals. How is it? Something on R. I think Rivotril, something like that. Something on R. I think it's called Rivotril. Also taking already in my therapy Theta and Maprezox. Maybe something like that. It's something on R. I think we call it Rivotril. Risperdal. Maybe it's something. Something starts with R. I'm gonna check it. Tomorrow and tell you the exact name. But it starts with R. It's like 1.5 milligrams. That's what I know. Starts with R. What's like the experience hallucinations? If you don't mind me asking. Sometimes it's pleasant. Sometimes it's brutal, man. Hold on. I can check the name of the med. Just a second. Hold on. If it's here. Hold on. Just a second. No, the name is, I'm gonna tell you the name, not Rivotril, Reagila. The name is Reagila. Reagela. That's the name. I know it's some very weird name. Some extremely weird name, like never heard of it. Some Reagila, that's how we call it. And also Taita and Maprozox. These are my meds that I'm currently taking. But Reagila starting today. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing about hallucinations. They can be non-dangerous. Sometimes it's like non-dangerous, but sometimes it's like spelling R E G A L A. I'm going to write it to you. Maybe we call it Reagila. I'm not sure how you spell it because we have something. We have something. It's REAG. That's the name of the med. So in my state we call it that way. So I don't know. Maybe you call it differently in the US. Maybe. But anyway, I kicked off with that today, so we'll see how is that going to go. But yeah, hallucinations can be visual, and sometimes it can be a sound hallucination. So it's like sometimes I'm scared, sometimes I don't give a damn, but I'm feeling better now. Now it's when it's not a lot of stress, when it's not a lot of tension, it's okay. But other than that. For example, the last hallucination happened on Saturday because it was a lot of stress, and my other PC, the charger broke. The charger broke, and then I started shaking, and I started seeing various things. In the middle of the stream, it started happening. Did a lot of research on schizophrenia. Really, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. They gave me that med because my blood type is A. That's what they asked me, which is your blood type. I said A. They were like, okay, we're gonna give you this and try it out. What type of things can be hallucinated? All kind of things. Demons, devils. For example, once I had a hallucination that glass, the picture like split in two and tries to attack me. Like picture split in two and tries to attack me. That's one of the hallucinations I had. There were so many of them. But on Saturday, when that happened, it was literally a blackout. Everything turned black. I started hearing things, and I started seeing some creatures that were not there. That's why I ran out of the stream, which you can see. Which you can see if you rewatch my stream from Saturday. When that happened, when I told, oh, my PC is fucked up, you've seen that I ran out for a minute or two because I knew that's not happening, but I had to exit. So I had to stop my brain from those idiotic stuff. That's what I did. I had to stop my brain from producing whatever it was producing. Not knowing you, I would be cautious with antipsychotics, prefer milder anxiolytics like benzodiazepines. Actually, my doctor prescribed Reagila. Maybe I pronounced well, maybe not. I'm not. Yeah, benzodiazepines. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's okay. That's okay. I see you have a lot of knowledge. Schizophrenia is anxiety on steroids. Yeah, my doctor says the same. Like exactly, my doctor says the same. Yes, exactly, my doctor says the same. Like my first diagnosis was anxiety. Anxiety and PTSD was my first diagnosis. And then when I talked about it, they were like, okay, we must kick off with these meds. Like, great minds think alike. Yeah, way to go, man. Way to go. My doctor said the same. So way to go. Way to go. I mean, my doctor said it's anxiety on steroids. And yeah, but I see you have a lot of experience in that aspect of the game, and always nice to learn new things. But yeah, you're right. Antipsychotics, they can force you to sleep. They can like, earlier I used to have hallucinations every 2 days. Now I have them on 10 days, on like 7, 10, 15. That's better. Believe me, it's way better since when it was every 2 days, it was, I couldn't live normally. But I believe one day I will be able to live normally. Yeah, anxiety on steroids. Exactly. But I'm way more cautious. Medical marijuana might help. They actually legalized marijuana in my state like a month or two ago. They actually legal. It's actually legal right now. It used to be illegal until a month or two. Now they approved it, but only for medical purposes. You can buy it. So they approved it. They approved it. Thanks God. Like it was prohibited. It's legal here. Here it used to be illegal, and 1 month ago, thanks God, they approved it. And I was like, "Wow, thanks God, it's approved now." If you have Massachusetts, I live in Serbia. It's like a state in Europe, but yeah, I've heard it's legal in Massachusetts. Hello, James. How's everything doing, James? Uh, yeah, but they approved it. It's finally legal here. Unlike when they approved it, I was saying thanks God. I said to myself, thanks God, when they approved it. I ran several hospitals in California. Oh, it must have been. May I ask you a question? How hard it is to run a hospital? Oh, good, thanks, champ. No, honestly, how hard is that? Just a normal question. I assume running a hospital, that means a lot of stress. Many people are having health issues, etc., etc. How hard can that be? Very intense. Man, when somebody's life is at stake, it's probably the staff are the worst. I assume it is. It's so hard, man. The patients are easier. So staff is the worst. Ouch. Yeah, I knew it. I mean, man, if you were able to run a hospital, then you must be a hero to some people. No, like to organize all that mess, people are coming, a lot of stress. You must be a hero to some people. You must have saved so many lives. My mom is a doctor, but she's normal doctor, not like she used to work. She didn't work in the hospital. She's a normal doctor. I've been in Massachusetts 3 times. Awesome. I helped a lot of folks. Yeah, your doctors are heroes. I don't know, no matter how much they pay you, you never reject a patient. You help everybody as much as you can. Literally, my mom is a doctor too. She helped tons of people, but she's a normal doctor. She doesn't work in the hospital. She used to work in the ambulance. Yeah, ambulance, I think. Uh, yeah, I think ambulance. She worked there like 30, 35 years, and man, when she comes home, I'm like, Mom, how was it at work? Just stop asking me. Why? Just stop asking me. Don't ask me those type of questions. Don't ask me those type of questions. Fine, I'm not gonna ask you. The most important thing is self-care, then structure, then meaning, being teleological. Must have been very hard, man. But doctors are my heroes, especially in clinics. Especially that level. I don't know how can you be so calm, for example, when some patient is having a hard time, etc., and you must help him. I just don't know how you don't shake. For example, if I have to help somebody, my hands would be like this. You have to be patient with patients. Not same patient, I know, but how don't you, for example, how your hands don't shake, for example? For example, if I would help somebody, I want to help, of course, but I would be like, all right, that's how I would look like. I was the calm in the midst of the storm. Way to go, man. Well, you got a gift, man. Everybody cannot be a doctor. You got a gift for sure, man. I knew I was the healer. Yeah, way to go. Well, you were very like how to say. You get used to it as the time goes by. Like me streaming, for example, I'm very calm. For example, when I stream like this, etc. But when I'm between the people, when I'm in front of a lot of people, when I'm surrounded by a lot of people, it can be problem. So, but yeah, doctors are really my heroes. That's hard. That's very hard. That's very, very hard profession, and that's something I really appreciate. Like, like for example, my mom, when she comes home, she was working like 6, 7 hours, and then she comes home, she's super tired, and she says, "Okay, I'm gonna prepare the meal," and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna prepare the meal just like this." I'm like, "Mom, what's wrong with you?" She's like, and she wakes up after half an hour. "Oh, sorry, I'm just tired from work." Milton Erickson was my hero. He was the greatest psychiatrist and hypnotist. I'm certified as a clinical hypnotherapist too. Clinical hypnotherapist. Sounds fun. Sounds entertaining. What is a clinical hypnotherapist? What can you tell me about the profession? I know what is hypnotherapist, but like clinical hypnotherapist. We do have hypnotherapists here, but what does it mean, clinical? Clinical. I haven't heard for a clinical hypnotherapist. We just have hypnotherapists here in the state of Serbia. Improve athletic performance. Whoa. Well, that's awesome. Do work on the roofs in Massachusetts states. Hmm, that's awesome, man. That's awesome if you can do that. I didn't. I know, like in my state, hypnotherapists they serve in my state. For example, if you have some problem from the past in my state, you visit a hypnotherapist, and then he is trying to help you via hypnosis, or that's how it works in my state. But clinical hypnotherapist, that's awesome. That's just awesome. So improving athletic performance. Well, if it works, well, always nice to learn new things. I was trained by Ernest Rossi. I'm the director of the Jungian Psychoanalytic Association. That's awesome, man. That's just awesome. That's just awesome, man. Well, that's great. So nice to have a hero in the chat. That's awesome. The Japanese Olympians used hypnosis. I was reading about that. Was it just a story for the media, or they really did that? I was reading some articles about that. I was reading some articles about the Japanese Olympians that they used hypnosis, but it's true, right? I didn't know that hypnosis can help that much. I know in my state some people who were undergoing hypnosis, and the doctors were discovering the sources of psychological or mental trauma. I know people who underwent hypnosis, and hypnosis helped them. So the best athletes call it being in the zone. Whoa, man, I'm learning new and new things every single day. But I'm impressed by that. I have never read about that. Being in the zone. Awesome. Just awesome. That's awesome. This is a great discussion. This really much intrigues me. Hypnosis is primarily dissociation and concentrated attention. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I've read about that. That's awesome. That's really much awesome. But any kind of help is awesome. Like when you learn from people all around the world. I see that you are very much expertise in that area. Dissociation is the ability to not be distracted. Yeah, dissociation means the same in my state. Like no distractions. That's when somebody is anxious, his ability of dissociation is pretty much reduced. That's what my doctor told me. Vlad, your ability to dissociate is very reduced. We all do it naturally. Yes, I know. I know. So awesome. So awesome to learn new things. We can train ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, there are tons of trainings. Like when I asked my doctor, am I for the psychotherapy, etc., they said me, no, lad, we must cure it in the first place, then you're gonna go psychotherapy. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. All hypnosis is self hypnosis. Great. Psychotics resist hypnosis. Whoa. This is interesting theory. I didn't know that. I didn't know that psychotics resist hypnosis. Trust is the issue. Learning to let go. So trust is the issue, right? Yeah, I actually have a lot of problems trusting people. That's true. I do have problems with that. But doctor also says it's something. Oh, she told me it's something from an early age, like from school age or high school age or early childhood. But we haven't reached there yet. But makes sense. Makes sense. Everything you wrote makes sense. Perfectly makes sense. But it's always nice to have a certified expert, you know. I respect your profession, man. Always nice to have a certified expert. I mean, thank you for all the new findings and all the new data. You know, I realize that I appreciate your time, man. I know. I understand that you're a very busy man, etc. But thank you so much for sharing great pieces of advice. Limited trust is reasonable. Well, yeah, limited trust is okay, but I'm generally having problem to trust people. That's like everything he wrote perfectly makes sense. No, when I think everything he wrote perfectly makes sense. I understand that he is very busy, etc. But thanks a lot for your pieces of advice, man. Thanks a lot for your pieces of advice. That's something that can help many people. Like when you don't know, the problem is because we don't know. That's the problem. Hypnosis is complete trust. I trained with the best. Well, I see. I see. Everything you wrote perfectly makes sense. Hypnosis is complete trust. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right, man. But I don't know how you do hypnosis, but I don't know how you do it, but many people told me that it helps people a lot. That it really, really helps. That it's really, really helpful because that's like some doctors told me that it's the best way to discover what really made you a problem. That's what letting go is all about. Complete trust. Man, thank you. I don't know what else to say, man. I really don't know what else to say. Like. Interestingly, you are talking very similar to my doctor. She said pretty many things that are very much similar to what you said to my psychiatrist. Your stories are very much alike. Like everything you wrote, she told me that maybe not in the same words, but yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, man, for great pieces of advice. So hypnosis is complete trust. I've learned something new. I've learned something new today. But people are always saying, never, never shame of your problems, because if we are shame, it's gonna get worse and worse. We are all humans. It can happen to anybody. Literally, it can happen to anybody. But running hospitals, you guys are gods for me. Somebody's life is at stake. That's a trance state. Trance state. I've heard of trance state. I know what that is. I was reading about trance state and yeah. Yo, Kevin, how are you doing, man? I was reading about trans state. That's something pretty much helps a lot. How are you doing, Kevin? We all go in and out of trance. That's excellent. Yeah. I know what is trend state. I learned it in a college though. Good, I made a lot of money from that card. Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm so glad you made some money. Actually, in the last card, you know what happened to me in the last card? Jazz fucked me up, but I was right about two picks. So Yanes won and Stamen won. So I actually forgot to tell you that I placed Yanes KO TKO. I completely forgot to tell you that when I opened my sleep, I remembered. But actually, that's how that's how it went. So technically, I'm around zero, maybe slightly plus. I made a big play at Capelozza minus 480. Now he's minus 570. Yeah, man, I know. Capelozza is now line is like dropping, 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 dropping because Sheffield got knocked out by many other guys. So, but UFC, I will see tomorrow who am I gonna bet on. Umar and probably gonna be Umar and maybe Shavkat. Who did you pick for the main event? I picked Qatar, man. Man, I scored 3-2. I scored 3-2 for Qatar. But I picked Qatar. I picked Qatar decision. That was my pick. It was a decision in the end. Now he is minus 600. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that Capello's odd is like it's dropping, 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 dropping. 3-2 Qatar. I scored 3-2 Qatar also. Very close fight also. I also scored 2-1 for Kutateladze. I don't know how you scored this Magilov and Kutateladze, but I scored 2-1 Kutateladze. Again, it doesn't have to mean that I'm right. I have my scorecards, though I'm not home right now, but I do have my scorecards. So I used to set the boxing line in Vegas in the 80s, an all-time Vegas bookie. Whoa, that's awesome. So can you tell me something about that all-time? Like all-time boxing, my dad is a big fan of boxing. For my dad, there is only one martial art in the world, that's boxing. So how was it back in the 80s? Who were the most famous names back then? Did you participate in the era of George Foreman, Joe Frazier, or maybe the beginnings of Mike Tyson, or how was it actually? They told me that Mike Tyson was the real demolisher. I was the first to set the line on Hagler Hearns. Hagler, man, Marvin Hagler is my favorite boxer. Rest in peace, man. Marvin Hagler and Joe Calzaghe. Yes, I saw all the fights there. All the fights there. So, what do you think about Marvin Hagler? He's my favorite boxer, man. Man, you're gonna make me cry. Marvin Hagler is my favorite boxer. You know that I cried when that guy died, literally. Hagler minus 160, Hearns plus 120. Well, seemed like a good line. Generally, what do you think about Hagler went off even money? What do you think about Marvin Hagler as a fighter? Did you like him? I liked his big left hand. Man, I love that guy so much. He was so, so great. He used to sell the boxing line in the Vegas in the 80s. Must have been great time, man. Must have been a great time. Oh, I wonder how was it back in the old school days. Now we have internet, we have applications, we have apps, all kind of apps. But how was it back then? Like you give the money to the bookie, or how was it back then? No, right now we have technology. My boss allowed me to go on the other side of the counter, and I bet Hagler even money for 500. Oh man, must have been different time back then. I really wonder how was it, in the early stages of betting, because today we do everything via apps. But I still visit the bookie, when I want to bet on UFC, I only bet on UFC. So today, when I want to visit the bookie, he's like 100, 200 yards from my home. I go to a bookie and I say, I want to play that, that, and that, and he gives me a slip. That's how I do it even today. I'm too classic, like I don't like to bet via application. I can, but it's like I don't know, man. I'm kind of old-fashioned about that. I know how was it back in the old days, but right now you can do everything via. You just need a cell phone nowadays, or a laptop, or whatever piece of device. But back in the old days, it must have been different. Yeah, good old times, man. Believe it or not, living in the 90s, I miss that there were no cell phones. There were only home phones, and you had freedom. Like now, you wear your cell phone literally everywhere. Everybody's hanging on laptops, cell phones. Good ancient times. I miss them so much. Like my dad is telling me, man, we watched the first boxing event in 1960 here in 1960 on the TV. Like there were 50 people in the house, and today you can watch on 10 devices if you want to. But he says back then there were 50 people in one house when they were watching a boxing event. Good old time. Oh, good old times, man. Good old times. Yeah. Anyway, now I will need to go to sleep. So tomorrow I have to work. I have some work. I have something to type, and tomorrow I might train. And I will probably do you. No, I will 100% do UFC predictions tomorrow. I don't know exactly which time. I will let you know about the time. Don't know exactly which time, but I will write everything. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and glad to see you guys. Glad to hear you. You are the best. I have the best crowd in the world. Dan Hamilton, thank you so much for your great pieces of advice. I learned something new today, so thank you so much. And awesome pieces of advice, like from a certified guy. It means a lot to me. Night, everyone, and catch you later. It is like 10:17 p.m. Go and sleep like in 40, 45 minutes. I'm done. Night, night, everyone.